monkey, that funky monkey.
$100,000 on clothes, makeup, fast cars, and fine dining. She has an unbelievable 17 credit cards all maxed out, and by her own count, is $25,300 in debt. She says that being able to go out and buy whatever she wants makes her happy. One time, when she was taken to Disney World on vacation, she was upset she didn't get fine dining, so she pushed her mom's fish fillet in her face. But Sherilyn says that it's not her fault, because her lazy, moody, and mean mother raised her to be that way. In her own defense, she said, "I blame her because growing up I didn't have to do anything." Which is ironic, because clearly that meant her mom made a lot of sacrifices. But when asked if she appreciates any of it, she replied,
"No, you don't. No."
But the best part is when she pawned her family's heirlooms. In need of money, she took her mom's priceless jewelry to the pawn shop and sold it. Then when asked if she appreciated the BMW she was gifted by her parents, she said she would have preferred a Mercedes. Her response to it all?
She grew me up, didn't she?
Maybe that time would have been better spent on English lessons. Number 9. Lil Tay. This 9-year-old is a self-proclaimed rapper who burst onto the scene next to fellow Instagram brat Whoa Vicky at Coachella. Not content being extremely fortunate in life, she's garnered a following by flaunting what could only be her family's wealth in front of other people's faces, with videos saying things like,
Lil Tay be trapping out in a 6-star hotel.
Wow.
And I got the iPhone X. What y'all bro just have? Y'all have iPhone 5. And I'll be drinking your college tuition.
She supposedly drives a $200,000 sports car without a license, and has been suspended from Instagram for using the N-word. But the facade all came crumbling down when 2 investigative reporters discovered Sadie's she used in her videos was actually her mom's boss's work car, and the 5 houses she claimed to own were empty homes being sold by her mom's real estate company. Number 8.
Toy tantrum. This kid was making such a scene, a bystander did the only logical thing in such a scenario: film it and post it into YouTube. Supposedly, he was throwing a tantrum over a $3 toy, and he turns into an immovable anchor to try and force his parents to buy it for him. His parents repeatedly tell him to get up, but he just keeps on refusing.
No, please get his hand. Oh my God. No, get up. No, get up. Get his hand. Get up.
One stranger even approaches and attempts to understand what's going on, and exposes the ridiculousness of the situation.
Thankfully, nobody bought him the toy in the end. That would have been the worst thing to do, as it would have just rewarded this type of behavior. This clip is sponsored by condoms, no doubt. That kid must have been so spoiled for the majority of his life to act like that, it's just crazy. Number 7.
Is socialite and spoiled brat Brandon Davis, the super wealthy grandson of oil tycoon Marvin Davis and BFF of Paris Hilton. You might know him from previously coining the term fire crotch for nemesis Lindsay Lohan.
Lindsay Lohan is a fire crotch.
Or calling ex-girlfriend Misha Barton Misha the Heifer. Here are just a few examples of his antics. On one binge, Davis spent $300,000 on a single casino night in Vegas. It turns out, though, that he was playing with unpaid markers, which he then refused to pay for. The 2 casinos had to sue him, and the Clark County District Attorney's Office stepped in and ordered Davis to pay off the debt, plus interest, of $323,962. The man who has lived his life without rules has been arrested for cocaine possession, given a DUI after totaling his Mercedes-Benz, and has been checked into rehab twice. He was even arrested back in 2011 for reportedly punching comedian Ben Glebe. Davis is also known by the nickname Greasy Bear, because he has more oil in his hair than comes out of his family's oil wells. Number 6. Conrad Hilton. There had to be a Hilton in here somewhere, and in 6th place is the youngest brother of the famous family, Conrad Hughes Hilton III. In 2014, Conrad was on a flight from London to Los Angeles when he, naturally enough, needed to relax. According to court papers, he repeatedly entered the bathroom to smoke marijuana and tobacco, taking it upon himself to disable the smoke alarm on a transatlantic flight. When flight attendants attempted to stop him, he shouted, "I am going to effing kill you!" and proceeded to punch one of them. He carried on. "I could get you all fired in 5 minutes. I know your boss," the court documents allege. Hilton allegedly told a flight attendant, "My father will pay this out. He's done it before. Dad paid $300,000 last time." During his tirade, Hilton allegedly yelled, "I will effing own anyone in this flight. They are effing peasants." Later, Conrad Hilton, after more antics at court, pled guilty to misdemeanor assault. But there's plenty more where that came from. Like any self-respecting, mega-rich, troubled child, he's totaled at least one car, this time a BMW. At 21, he faced a felony charge of reckless evasion of a peace officer. There's no doubt he thinks he's above the law. Since his plain antics, he's violated his probation on multiple counts, including trespassing, failing drug tests, and not completing any of his treatment programs. Oh, and it gets better. Less than a week after receiving his sentence, he was arrested outside the house of his ex-girlfriend for violating the restraining order she had put on him. Who is his ex-girlfriend? Hunter Daly Salomon, daughter of actress Elizabeth Daly and poker player Rick Salomon. The same Rick Salomon who shot to fame for making a sex tape with Conrad's older sister Paris. Of course, Paris has long been setting an example for Conrad, like when she was escorted by police from the stadium during a World Cup game in 2010 for allegedly smoking marijuana. She's also been arrested with weed at an airport in France, with cocaine in Las Vegas, and famously stormed out of an interview on ABC after being asked whether she was insecure that her fame might be fading. I think that answers the question. Number 5. Vorayud Uvidhya. He's the Thai grandson of the founder of Red Bull and an international fugitive. In 2012, he allegedly killed a police officer in a hit and run with his Ferrari, dragging the man's body 200 meters down the Bangkok street. His family is rich, very rich, and he had his father pay the officer's family $97,000 to stall the civil lawsuit. To put that in perspective, the car involved in the accident was itself worth $1 million. The 27-year-old was then charged with drunk driving, causing death by reckless driving, and escaping arrest, since just a few days after the accident, he fled the country. He's still wanted by Interpol on the federal charges, but nobody knows where he is. Uvidhya's family is worth $5.2 billion, according to Forbes. At this rate, he could run over 53,608 more police officers before he'd be broke, or one officer a day for the next 146 years. Number 4. Rachel Canning. We've all had arguments with our parents, but have you ever taken your parents to court? That's exactly what New Jersey teenager Rachel Canning did after her parents stopped supporting her lifestyle. Of course, Rachel was 18 and had moved out of her home, but she still wanted them to pay her private school tuition, $650 a week in child support, her future college tuition, and, obviously, her legal bills. She claimed her parents were abusive and had contributed to her developing an eating disorder. The judge refused to grant Rachel's request for emergency funds, asking, "Are we going to start opening the gates for 12-year-olds to sue for an Xbox? For 13-year-olds to sue for an iPhone?" You'll be pleased to know that Rachel has since withdrawn the suit and has moved back in with her parents. Number 3. Audrey Lexus. The original spoiled brat of the social media era was Audrey Lexus. Her mom has to take Valium to relieve the stress of having her as a daughter. She became famous for her tantrum when her mother gave her 16th birthday present too early. What was it? A Lexus, which isn't what she wanted.
What the? Happy birthday! That's yours. I got a watch me do my thing. What the hell? I want my car now! Don't tell me my car now. I told her not to get it. I wanted to do my party. I didn't know you wanted. But she's such an idiot. She just ruined the whole party. Everything. She just ruined everything.
She stormed out of the party and sent everybody home, canceling the birthday. Hey, Audrey, if you don't want your Lexus, I'd be happy to take it off your hands. Number 2. The Beverly Hills Brat. Then there's this girl, the Beverly Hills Brat. Her real name is Nicolette, and as a 15-year-old, she appeared on Dr. Phil with her mom. When her mom lowered her monthly allowance from $5,000 to $1,000, she just went into credit card debt instead. According to Joel, family friend and Nicolette's chauffeur, she doesn't have any friends because of the way she treats people.
How does she treat people?
Like peasants.
Her only future goals are wearing designer clothes, being rich, and not working. When Dr. Phil suggested she should work as a volunteer at a local soup kitchen, she started crying hysterically from the thought. She has beef with her mom and claims she was never loved as a child, only given money, which probably explains her bad attitude. Even so, her parents finally relented and gave her the $150,000 Mercedes G-Wagon she had always dreamed of, which meant that her mother, a doctor, had to take the bus to work. She probably needs a reality check more than an allowance check. And number 1, Liesl Pritzker Simmons. Finally, we have a special kind of spoiled child, one that uses her powers for good. The Robin Hood of brats, if you will. Liesl Pritzker Simmons, heir to the Hyatt fortune and child actress, sued her father and cousins for $6 billion. Yes, you heard that correctly. She sued her own family for $6 billion. She claimed that they had taken money from trusts that had been established for her and her brother. After dragging on for 3 years, both parties settled the lawsuit and Liesl walked away with a cool $280 million in cash, as well as control over other trusts, valued at close to $170 million. Her net worth is now upwards of $500 million. So what has she chosen to do with the money she clawed from her parents? Strangely enough, philanthropy. That's what. As well as earmarking $50 million for impact investing, she's given $50 million to start a charitable foundation focusing on education. The rest is invested in fair trade, sustainable, and fossil fuel-free companies. On becoming filthy rich, she escaped her fame and notoriety in the United States to teach yoga to heroin addicts in India, and then to do work doing manual data entry in Tanzania. I didn't earn this money, she says, and I'll be damned if I'm going to screw it up. So, I guess there is hope out there.
Hey guys, it's me, Claire, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And on this video, I'm going to try to get to 100 likes, and I know you guys can do it, so hit the like button, and if you already haven't, hit the notification bell so you'll always be notified when I post a new video. And so thank you for watching.